Hello and welcome to another episode of Space Engineers as we are coming back in from orbit with our spectator camera. I just wanted to show this off. You can see in the center of the screen there, the tunnel that I've dug is actually visible at high altitudes because I've removed so much voxel. It's under the ice. It's completely subterranean, but because of Space Engineer's level of detail, I can see my tunnels, even though when I get close, they are, of course, under the ice. I just thought that was kind of cool. But yes, we have the lighthouse ready to build, ready to work on. The elevator for it is all done and prepped. The tunnel going all the way back is all built, and it is beautiful. This elevator is built and functional, and I've made a little rover here just for zipping around the base. And this little guy is actually sort of as official as a blueprint can be, as we have, it is the Blue Team Rover by Zuckley, who is part of the developers, so they use it in their trailers and such, and I like to use it when I'm doing my update show-offs, just because it's a very standard little rover, so I can show off new blocks on it. But yeah, all I did to it was I got rid of the merge block here and changed it to a connector and piped it in. That was it. But let us go and check out our elevators, because today I want to show off how I automated these elevators. Ooh, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here to our rover. So park up here for a moment and grab my spectator camera again. We'll fly over and take a look at this thing. Now, when you're building elevators, there is some issue with, say, for example, if I was down at the bottom here and I just triggered for it to, say, these pistons to reverse, whatever they were set at, like 0.5, 1 for their distance, like their speed, they're just going to immediately go in the other direction as fast as they can, and that could result in the platform jerking suddenly and then being aggressive at the beginning. But if you don't set it high enough, the entire trip, which in this case this elevator is 85 meters down, if I did the calculations correctly with how many blocks it is, it's going to take too long. If we set it at like 1 meter, 1.5 meter, it's going to take over a minute to get to the top, and that's a very long elevator. So what a wonderful community member has done, as we have the programmable block down there, same guy that made the spinny reactor control for me that caused my unnecessarily spinning reactor to spin faster if it was using more and more power. He has made another awesome script for me, and honestly I should probably just hire this guy as my own personal scripter, that takes the elevator cab and calculates how far it has to go, slowly accelerates it until it's reached sort of a maximum speed, keeps going that maximum speed throughout the majority of the raise or lowering of the elevator, and then once it gets close to the end, apply a dampening effect so that when it reaches the end, it's a nice, soft, slow, and gentle arrival at your stop, which I think is awesome. I'm really happy that he did that. So because now, where this elevator was taking me, I think it was like 50 seconds or so to do a full raise or lower, he got it down to like 15 seconds because of that speed. And when you reach the bottom and the top, there's no jerkiness, it just arrives quite nicely. But beyond that, I'm going to be showing off that script as well. I also want to show how I've set this elevator up to be essentially touchless. I don't want to have to get out of my rover. As such, there are multiple different sensors in different locations that are sensing different things for different purposes that will allow you to just drive through and not have to worry about getting out of your rover. So if I pop back into my rover here, the first sensor here is right in front of me on the floor. And as I drive up to it, it just triggered there. And what that did is it told the elevator there is a vehicle waiting at the airtight hangar doors. It is sending the elevator car up. When the elevator car gets close to the top, the doors start to open. You can see there a nice gentle arrival. And as the doors open, the car is right here, ready for me to drive on. Now, I don't want to get out, so I have to trigger it somehow. There's the sensor at the very far end of the cab here. If I drive up to that, you hear it trigger and the elevator starts going down. The elevator reaches a bottom, nice gentle landing here, and the airtight hangar doors are descending to let me out. And then I can simply drive out and turn down the tunnel and drive on down the tunnel towards the lighthouse. So we're going to go over all that automation. I've preset the lighthouse where I've got all the sensors built. The programmable block is there. The only thing I haven't done is put in the program, set up the program, and set up the sensors and what they're supposed to be doing at different times, because the sensors have to call the programmable block. But other than that, it's pretty much ready to go. And soon we'll be able to, quite easily, even though we have that temporary industry in the way, get our rovers out of the base and onto the ice fields to go do some other stuff and maybe go for some exploration and such. So as we get down to here, whoa, stop my rover. There we go. We have the other elevator and its stuff all set up. So I'll just back my little rover up right here. And interesting thing, it may not look it here when you're in the rover, because the rover is tilted as well. But if I get out, what you can see is that the room is slightly skewed, slightly higher over there and then over here. Because remember, the origin of this entire grid is here. This is flat to gravity. So from there, we are probably a couple kilometers this direction. This is now on an angle. I thought that was kind of fun. So for example, if I put on my jetpack and flatten it out there, about there is flat, I turn off my jetpack, I snap back to gravity. Oh, excuse me. But now, to go through this entire section here and program everything up. So first thing is we need to get this programmable block going, as everything else is going to call it. Well, that and the fact that we have two groups for the lighthouse elevator airtight doors, one for the bottom and one for the top. So in here, we've got program lighthouse elevator speed. We're going to go to edit, browse scripts, and go search for elevator. We have elevator piston control. It gives smooth acceleration and high top speed for your piston elevators. No more balancing between jerky starts and stops and awkwardly long waits for slow speed. You can also do things like play music while moving, activate timer blocks whenever you reach a specific floor. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do in this. This is simply a really simple version of it, simple implementation, but elevator piston control. And it is made by DF Percush. So you can find that on the workshop. So all we have to do is put it in here. However, we need to give it some specific information. For example, we need to say what our piston group name is. So knowing that we need to give it the name of all of these two pistons here and what they're doing, so that it knows that these are the pistons that it needs to work with. So do I have those? I've got hangar elevator pistons, So I need to make myself the group of lighthouse elevator pistons. Not lighthouse elevator pistons. Right there. Hangar elevator pistons. Lighthouse elevator pistons. I'll copy that in. And go into here. And then tell it that it is lighthouse elevator pistons that it wants to use. Now, what I need to do is record floors. So, these are the arguments you can give it. If you say record, and then you give it a floor variable name, it will record the current position of the pistons and record that as a floor name. So for example, we're going to have two floors, lake and tunnel. Pretty self-explanatory. But of course you can make those more complex if you wanted to, or have more. We're just doing a two-story elevator here. So record floor. So what I want to do here is go into here and give it an argument. Right now, record tunnel and run. And it says recorded position of floor tunnel. Next thing is I want to raise these pistons up. Tunnel, of course, is when the pistons are fully retracted. This is perfect. But now we want to raise the pistons up and get them into position for the lake access. So I can't remember if I've set these things up to be at the proper distance, but whatever, let's get it going. Let's send them up. I might need to turn their on. There we go. And yes, please, inertia tensor, do not explode on me. So these are probably going to extend too far. I haven't counted out these blocks all the way up, but we'll get to the top and then we'll see how far they've extended and then retract them ever so slightly until it aligns how we like it. So before we reach the top and I'm unable to get downstairs anymore, let's get onto this side of this whole thing. And you can see moving up slowly here. See, if you're waiting on a normal elevator, it would take so long, hence why we're doing this. And we should get to the top and we should run into the top because these pistons are set to extend even further. Oh, yeah. Don't want to get myself squished in the elevator shaft. And then boom. Okay, we've made it up. So we can take a look at the spectator camera. We are at the top here, actually slightly higher. But let's take a look down at the pistons. How far did they extend before they hit? Because I could probably retract them ever so slightly. So 31.3. So let's give both of these 31. We'll retract them a little bit. And then send them back up. And see where 31 sits. If I get into my spectator camera, now it is slightly low. So they probably need another bit up. 30. Oh, they probably need another 0.25 each, right? Because 31 each would be 62. So 62.5 would be a full block increment. So yeah, another 0.25 each for another total 0.5. That should be what they need. So it's 31.25. Good. Perfect. They're perfectly aligned. A little bit off, but that's just like the amount of centimeters that the piston heads are separated from that. This doesn't matter. This is going to function fine for our elevator. And we still have a tiny bit of clearance right here. Okay. So now we have figured out what the top of the elevator is. We can go back down to here. We can then go record, lake, run. Excellent. So now we can go between those simply by typing it in. So say tunnel and run. And it is now moving down to the tunnel. And as it gets to the bottom, it slows down and comes to a nice, gentle, and wonderful stop. And I can actually remove the maximum distance here. This doesn't matter anymore because the thing will only go to that distance. So if I put in go to the lake, it's going to power itself back up. It is going to fly back up to here, and it should stop right at that point where these meet and not push any further. Boom. Perfection. Oh God, I love this script. It's amazing. But now that we have that, we can do a lot with it. All of these are going to essentially be calling that programmable block. So for example, this bad boy here, this is to detect when a player is close to, with either a player or a rover, the airtight doors, so that the airtight doors will come down, but mainly it's to call the cab. So we want to have it so it is detecting small ships and players, and we want to set up actions and go to elevator speed for the lighthouse. Lighthouse elevator speed run, and when we're here, we want to bring it back to the tunnel. I'm here in the tunnel, bring this back down to the tunnel. So if I back off to let it sit there and then move back into its trigger radius, I've triggered it. Elevator comes down. Boom. Perfect. Next one, we would drive our rover on. We would come to this and we move our rover or our person close to this one. We again want this one to be small ships and players. We want to set up actions and lighthouse elevator speed run. This time we want to go to the lake, because if we're on the car, we obviously want to go up. So lake. I'll move away and I'll move back to its range, and it triggers, taking me up to the lake. Excellent. Now, we can do the same thing over for these guys. This, obviously, we want small ships and players. Set up actions for the lighthouse run. And when we're up here, we want to bring it up to the lake so that we can get in it and take the elevator. And for this one, detecting what's on the cab here, again, small ships and players, set up actions, lighthouse elevator speed. We're on the elevator up at the lake, we want to go to the tunnel. We set that argument. And you can set up any number of things. Like you could have it so that, like, if you drove to that one, you went to the tunnel. If you drove to this one, you went to another location. This one we're going to use to manage the airtight hangar doors. So for example, we walk up to this, the elevator starts going down. If I fly over to this one here and trigger it, the elevator starts coming back up. So excellent. The up and down has been solved. But now we need to figure out these airtight hangar doors. Now they're all on a group here. So if I take a look, airtight, we have both hangar elevator bottom and top and lighthouse elevator bottom and top. We want these to be controlled by these on the side. And what this sensor is looking for is not ships or players, but subgrids. So it's looking for the actual cab of the elevator itself. So as such, I'm at the top here. I'd like to, the airtight hangar doors take a moment to open and close, so I should probably have this extending a little bit farther down so that it gets it as it's coming up, and so there isn't as much of a wait when the elevator is coming up. And what I want it to do is go to groups and get the lighthouse stuff. This is the one for the top. When it senses it, which is the left side, I want it to get the top ones and open it. When it doesn't sense it anymore, when the cab moves away, I want it to take the top ones and close them. So now what should happen is I can trigger the elevator and send it away. The cab will go down, and as the cab goes away, the elevator doors will close. Then I can call the cab by going towards that sensor. The cab is going to come back up, and once this sensor triggers, there, the cab's not at the top yet, but as it gets to the top, the airtight doors are just about done coming down, ready for you to drive off on your way out onto the lake. And so we can repeat that same thing at the bottom. We'll take the elevator down simply because it is absolutely wonderful and convenient. And we've got this bad boy right here. This is going to be for the bottom airtight hangar doors. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to set its top extent to be a little bit further, so it triggers it as it's coming down and starts the doors on the way. And then we'll go to the lighthouse group, elevator bottom. When it senses it, open. When it doesn't sense it, close. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So now, if I want to, trigger the elevator and get off of it quickly, so everything's going to go up. We have the airtight hangar doors closing. The elevator has reached the top. These doors are opening. And we can get into our rover and do the exact same automated run through this elevator. All I have to do now is drive up to the elevator here. It triggered. The elevator is going down. Those doors are closing. These doors are opening in front of me as the elevator car arrives, nice and smoothly. The elevator actually arrived quite quickly here. I can maybe even increase the height at which it detects it so that those doors open a little bit sooner. I can drive on the elevator cab, drive up to the sensor on the other side. It triggers, and we raise up the elevator shaft all the way to the top, and the doors are opening for us out onto the beautiful ice lake sunny day that we have. And then we just drive out onto the ice lake and we're free. Look how far away that base is. Holy crap. But yeah, that's the automation that I'm using for my elevator. So now, whenever I'm going in and out of the base, I never, ever again have to get out of my rover. All I have to do is just drive. And that's it. Which is awesome. Now I can start setting up stuff like mining derricks and all that kind of stuff in different areas. I can build myself a Rhino rover. I can start going on little expeditions with rovers and stuff because I can get out of my base. Because that mobile field base has been parked there for so long. And oh my god, I have a divot on the ice. Oh no, my pristine ice I wanted to keep all nice and happy. Oh, it was a supply drop that screwed it up. Those unknown signals. God damn it. But yeah. I think these elevators are working out so nicely. You can just... Oh wow, we got some air there. I guess I got a little bit of a lip there when it comes to driving into the base. That gets you a little bit of a jump when you're going that quickly. But here, drive over this sensor. I'll also put the things here into here. just as an extra lighthouse elevator speed, run with lake, just in case you need to call the elevator. And same after we get the car on, we'll do on here. This one will be lighthouse elevator speed tunnel, if I can spell things correctly. And then on this side will be lake. So you can send it down, bring it back up as needed. Then, interesting thing, if you leave your vehicle parked back here, at least the way I've set it up, if you leave it within the area where it would automatically trigger it when to reach the bottom, and then you stand over here, you can just have the elevator going up and down forever. Because you get to the bottom, and your vehicle will trigger it, and the elevator will go back up to the top, and then when you reach the top, you'll trigger it, and you'll go back to the bottom, and then just things will repeat over and over again. So you have to make sure when you get on this, you pull your vehicle to the center, away from the other triggering block. But then back down here, same thing for this guy. We want this one to be going up to the lake, and this one to be for the tunnel, so that you can call them if you needed, control it there. And then final one being this guy to call it back down to the tunnel if needed to be. And there we go. Fully automated touchless elevator with touchscreen backup. God, I can't say how much I appreciate and how awesome it is for DF Percush to make that. You are awesome, and I love your work. If you're in Warship Clang, watch those inertia tensors. It's so true. But I want to make awesomeness with this script. I want to see if I can make this work for my elevator on my asteroid as well. But you can do all sorts of other stuff with this. You can change the acceleration depending on the gravity. You can do the stopping distance. You can actually set up elevator music, so as your elevator car is moving, you can have some music playing. You can set certain elevator triggers to occur at different platforms, and yeah, all sorts of stuff. But that is the elevator. We can just drive on back to the base as we talk about the next things. Of course, there is the public test going on right now for the new stuff for space engineers. I personally have not had a chance to log into it and play it. As far as I understand, there is some of the weather effects and the new hydrogen blocks, basically small-sized blocks for both large and small grid. People have been data mining, and we believe there's going to be another planet or something, as there's like Welton to Triton. What the God? I gotta check something here. What the hell? Why is there a block missing? Okay, this has been happening to me, and maybe somebody knows what the hell is going on, but it's like Endermen are in my base. Every so often, I'll just be driving along or working along, and then there's just a block missing. I have no idea how, where, when, what. Is just a part of my base disappears, and I don't know. It is very weird. So if you know why it's like Endermen are in my base, please tell me. I think I might have just made this base too big, and the game is now going, no, you're not allowed. You can't have cool things. It's always just armor blocks, though. All my functional blocks seem to stay, so I don't know. Except, like, maybe one of these days I'll come in and, like, all my lights are missing or something. Freaking game. But yeah, about the public test, I know it exists. I just haven't covered it yet. When it actually goes live, I'll make an update video going over the details and the patch notes and such. But I just don't have the time to go through the public test in full detail right now. A lot of other people have done it, so you can go and check out their videos. Also, other things, the blocks sometimes disappear from this hangar floor. That's at least where it's the most noticeable. So I don't know. Something's going on. Something weird. But if we want to explore down here a little bit more, we can see I've done the cascading projection thing all the way down this hallway. It's probably a little wasteful to build this many projections because I'm basically doing it for one for each of the 9x9x7 block increments. But yeah, at this point I have, like, you know, 100 billion stone from all this excavating, so I don't really care. I've got so many resources. It's stupid how much resources I have. But we are a fair ways down here. The okay, where am I? Oh, back at the elevator. Flying over to where we are now. All the way over here. So we're a fair ways. Probably. Oh god, it's like a third of the way to getting through this tunnel all the way to where the city is going to be. The city totally might. The city might have to be on an entirely separate grid if this grid starts to get too big. Because it just might be. It just might be too much. But yep, we're going to continue worming our way. And I think when we get down here, if I slam myself up to the tunnel somewhat like this, I think an elevator or a ramp would do nicely. I believe a ramp comes out right around these blocks here, around these stones, and then we can just head on into the city and probably make each city building their own separate grids. That way my one grid doesn't become, like, absolutely ginormous. It's just a normal size grid. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. That's how you automate your elevators. And I 100% am going to have this tunnel done in the next episode because it's going smoothly now. I've actually set it up so that, ow, just back into everything. My drill and fills, I've got them on a timer right now. Like every, it's repairing me. Every so many seconds, it moves the drill and fills slightly. And it's tunneling this thing way faster than the worm could ever. And I'll be out there shortly. But that's going to be it for now. Oh, hey. That's a, I'm getting so distracted. That's a block of voxel that needs to be cleaned up. I'm going to do that right now. But I try to end this episode once more. That's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching. And good hunting out there, fellow space engineers.